Hello, this is Brian Shannon from Alpha Trends Blogspot. It's Saturday, the 27th of October, 2007. I was going through some stocks today, getting ready for next week, and looking at some of these Asian stocks. So I figured I might as well do a little bit of a video about them. They are speculative, so and I'm looking at a lot of the smaller ones here too, but I figured I'd share some thoughts with you. First of all, let's take a look at Asia Info Holdings. You can see the stock kind of was a laggard compared to the rest of the Asian stocks, but really took off last week on some real heavy volume, cleared past this $10.50 level, again on big volume. It looks like it's starting to slow down a little bit in here and consolidate. Looking at a weekly and even a monthly time frame, you can see where this stock broke past multiple year level of resistance, and perhaps it's headed for about $14 a share or so. So it still looks like something that ought to continue higher. Here's a look at the 10-minute time frame. You can see it's consolidating in a tight range here. We've got a rising 5-day moving average, and all these stocks trade at least 500,000 shares, and they also trade options as well. So if you're not comfortable with some of the large downward movements that can occur, and we'll see that in a minute, maybe you're better off trading the options. I'm not going to tell you specifically where I'm going to be buying these stocks or what my plans are, but just to kind of give you an idea of what I think where some of the better opportunities are. China-back battery, this stock broke past resistance when the group really went about a month ago, past $5 a share on real heavy volume here. It's pulled back pretty far, but it is right along that rising 50-day moving average. This is a real speculative one. It's given up too much of its gains, but a lot of them are just experiencing these quick intraday bounces. You can see here that the stock found resistance where it should have, meaning that this prior level of support that was resistance here and then resistance once again. But now it's at a level where it's sold off pretty good. The 5-day moving average is starting to flatten out, and I'm thinking about setting an alert for this stock and possibly purchasing it above about 590 or so. Even though that declining 5-day moving average might still get in the way, this prior support has been acting as resistance, and clearing that could lead to a quick trade higher. There's no way I would buy this stock and think that I could hold it for any real period of time. It would be a 1 to 2 day trade only for me. But it is a very aggressively traded stock and can make some real nice moves. China Direct, symbol CDS. Here's a stock at all-time highs. It's holding up very well. You can see though that again it's a volatile issue. It's pulled back way below that 20-day moving average, recovered on some big volume in here. So it's got a very favorable volume pattern, that is increasing on large volume followed by low volume pullbacks, and then once again the volume comes in on the upside. So the stock acts very bullish. It does trade options, trades at least 500,000 shares a day. Looks like there's some potential for support down near this level. It kind of took off on Friday. We've got a rising 5-day moving average. This one could get going. Check the short interest on these things too, because that could play a factor. But above $11 a share, maybe it goes, or if it pulls back a little bit further, then maybe you want to buy it above one of these little lower highs right here, for instance, at about this $10.80 level. Give you a little bit of a head start. That is over the rest of the momentum players. China Tech Faith, here's another one that's kind of trying to hold support at this prior level that was so important for it for about a year and a half or so. The volume pattern again is favorable in here. I don't know what this big gap up was, but it failed. So there are sellers in this stock looking to sell out on big movements. But again, maybe even the November 7.5 calls. I can't imagine they'd be more than about 30, 40 cents. The stock pops back up to 8, 8.5. You might get a double or a triple. I'm not suggesting that play, just a consideration. But it looks like maybe getting above 685, where we've had some resistance in that 5-day moving average. Maybe we could get a quick trade higher. And again, these are all very aggressively traded stocks. China Tech Development, CTDC. Now this one, I own a little bit of stock in this one right now. It's trading big volume on the upside, low volume consolidations. We can see that more clearly. So on this weekly, on this weekly time frame, this prior resistance in here does appear to be holding a support as the stock bounced higher this past week. It's holding above the 10 and 20 day and really holding up very strongly in here. It just made this kind of looks like maybe a little bit of a washout right here. It quickly recovered from that failed move. From failed moves often come fast moves. Now it looks to me like it really needs to clear the $10 level. This is a solar play too. I just read some headlines. I never really read the stories because I don't believe them anyways, a lot of times. But it is making higher lows. It keeps coming up to this level. You could call this an inverted head and shoulders as well. But this stock is also, again, in the solar area. You had STP this last week, a Chinese play, really strong in the solar area. So CTDC. I'm thinking again, maybe some November 10 calls in here too. Probably, I don't know what the price would be. CYD, this stock had a huge run last week. Probably needs to consolidate a little bit further. You can see that it is making these lower highs and lower lows on a short-term time frame. Maybe it finds support along the 5-day moving average as it comes down and as the stock price comes down and the 5-day moving average rallies up. Then maybe you want to buy it above one of these higher, lower highs rather. It's got a very favorable volume pattern again in here. We had some big volume on the upside, low volume consolidations. Longer term trend. It looks like this stock had a fantastic rally in 2002, 2003. It had a huge sell-off, kind of went sideways. This resistance held a support. Now it looks to be going again. Maybe it's headed up towards that $15 level. That'd be a nice trade. Let's not take a look at that one. NetEase. This was a big one back when the original rally for the Chinese company started, which was 2002, 2003. And NetEase, you can see, has done a lot of kind of just backing and filling in here, but it's starting to take on a much more bullish-looking pattern, and the volume has been large on the rallies and low on the pullbacks. So I'm thinking it probably can make it at least up towards that 22 level. There is a pretty good size short position in here. Looking at the intraday time frame, we've got these higher lows. The 5-day moving average is flattening out. I think probably above $20.10. It's probably worth at least a trade on Monday. So that's one I'm going to have a pretty close eye on. 9, NINE. This one's kind of been failing here lately each day, but it rallies up and finds some sellers. This one might be a little bit too speculative. QXM, this is Zing Mobile. It's a great name. I mean, mobile telephones in China. So anyways, the resistance has acted as support, prior resistance acting as support, rising 50-day moving average. Big volume on the up moves, again in here, low volume consolidation. So it's acting the way it's supposed to. And you can see here that this IPO'd back in 2007, back in April, and now this resistance becoming support. This is the type of stock that could get going real strong to the upside. So we can see that this 5-day moving average, which was rallying, then pulled back. Now it's flattening out. It looks like the buyers are starting to regain control. We've got these higher lows in here. Could be getting ready for a move higher. Another one that isn't quite ready yet, but I like this stock is, I like the name of it. I like the way it acts. So when it gets going, that is, that it can get going real big, which is Solar Fund, SOLF. You can see they came public, I guess it was in 2007. I don't know why it says 2000 up there. But it's making this pattern of higher lows and higher highs. Nice volume pattern in here as well. The daily, it's been consolidating above this 50-day moving average. It looks like it's got to at least clear about $13.70 before it could probably get going higher. Keep your eye on that one. If it gets going above there, I might even consider some of the 15 strike calls, maybe November or December. SSRX is a biotech company and a biotech Chinese company. Great volume pattern here on the weekly, the daily time frame. You can see we do have the 10 crossing below the 20, so it might be just more of a quick trade than anything, but maybe above $16.50 it could get some upside that it might sustain. And then of course you've got the what was the other one I wanted to look at? FMCN. That stock is a larger company. This is an advertising play in China. Anyways, it gapped up on strong earnings over here. It's been consolidating in here, and now maybe above 58 is really where it gets that momentum back into it again. You can see that it's starting to stabilize. We've got the 5-day moving average starting to come back and turn sideways. So we had this we still have this pattern of lower highs and lower lows on this 30-minute time frame. So I think clearing 58 is where the momentum would come back into the stock. And you can see it is pretty choppy in here, so there's big range movements, so just be careful with it. And lastly, we'll just take a look at FXI, which is the ETF for the Chinese index. Huge uptrend, obviously. These stocks are risky, but it's consolidating very nice in here, and I think getting back above maybe 211 or so, it could be ready for another move higher.